Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
We need to address, well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country.
And this video has been brought to you by racism. Racism is accepted wherever true Americans are. Perfect. Police on Wednesday handcuffed a man allegedly responsible for a slew of anti-Asian hate crimes in Midtown and Lower Manhattan. According to police sources, 28-year-old Stevens John of East 32nd Street allegedly committed no fewer than 7 assaults in a 24-hour period on February 27th. Each of his victims were all women of Asian descent. In each of the cases, law enforcement sources state that Stevens allegedly approached his victims and, without saying a word, struck them in the face and head before fleeing the area. Police report that Steven allegedly appeared to be targeting his prey based on their race and didn't engage them in dialogue before attacking them. Steven is charged with 7 counts of hate crime assault, 7 counts of attempted assault, 7 counts of aggravated harassment, and 7 counts of harassment. The suspect remains silent as officers led him away in handcuffs, refusing to answer why he carried out these attacks. More information. He previously lived in Sarasota, Florida, United States, and in Fort Riley, Kansas. Both between 2015 and March 2016, he served in the United States Army as a private. He was stationed at Fort Riley and was never deployed. When the new pandemic started in 2020, he was homeless in Hawaii. In April of 2020, he was ticketed for trespassing after sleeping in a home under construction in Hawaii. In September 2020, he was seen spraying Glad in a bathroom of the park. He was cited for not wearing a mask. In October 2020, his mother sought an injunction for protection against him for a DC incident. In May of 2021, the Honolulu Police Department arrested him and charged him with harassment and disobeying an officer. He pled no contest to the charges, and he was released after he was given credit for serving 2 days in the department's cell block. Between 6:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. on February 27th of 2020, he allegedly attacked an Asian woman, then 57, near Madison Avenue and East 30th Street in New York City. An Asian woman, then 25, near 5th Avenue and East 30th Street in New York City. An Asian woman, then 21, near Park Avenue South and East 23rd Street in New York City. An Asian woman, then 25, in the Union Square area near Irving Place and East 17th Street in New York City. An Asian woman, then 19, in the vicinity of Union Square East and East 17th Street. An Asian woman, age 25, and an Asian woman, age 20, in the Lower East Side in New York City. He was 28 years old when he was accused of attacking 7 Asian women on February 27th of 2020 from Midtown Manhattan to the Nolita neighborhood in New York City. On March 1st of 2022, police released video footage of him wearing a multicolored backpack, a light blue t-shirt, dark colored pants, and dark colored shoes. He was living in a homeless shelter in Midtown Manhattan, New York City, when he was arrested on the evening of March 2nd, 2022. He was charged with attempted assault as a hate crime, aggravated harassment, and 7 counts each of assault. On April 4th of 2022, he was indicted on felony and misdemeanor hate crime charges.
Have blacks been pitted against Asians?
We need the black community to realize that that black people are hurting Asians, and they need to speak out in their own community.
Our communities are not reporting these incidences. We don't want to cause more trouble, more attention to our community.
It strikes me that this is the Asian equivalent of the talk that African-American parents often have to have with their children.
So I just want to say this real quick to a lot of others out there that always want to come through whenever I do stories on the Asian community, and you want to choose to deflect. Well, good luck on doing that, because you yourself are Asian, more than likely a man, and you allow these things to transpire, just as the Asian community there in New York allowed these things to transpire. And what do I mean by that? I mean, for the simple fact that at no point in time from when this started did I hear of any of this. I didn't hear this get listed. They wanted to try to blame the African American community for every single thing that was literally going on and happening to the Asian community. And this is when I sat up there and brought out a series of videos showing you the real perpetrators of these crimes, right? Of these incidences that were taking place, that was happening to the Asian community. But like the main clip that I set up there and keep playing for y'all, the Asian community isn't realistically going to say anything, because normally they're not going to say anything, because their whole thing is to stay quiet and to keep their heads down. And so that if they do that, then there's less likely a chance for somebody else to want to copy or do the exact same thing, because they're not drawing attention to it. They're trying to be less of a target, right? And, you know, like I said before, in a sense, that's the wrong way to sit up there and go about things. But, you know, I don't know what it is that I'm talking about, because I'm black, right? And you guys have laws, you guys have you know, legislation that your community has put up, right, in order to deal with these things. But the problem with that is that it's, in a sense, it happened too late, right? You've had several Asian women that were harmed, ranging from elders all the way to the age of 19, and that's ridiculous. And no men in that community had any type of response for any of the things that was happening to their women in their community, which they had controls of. The Asian community has enough of a population where it's like, yo, we can sit up there and have, you know, our men out there, you know, basically a show of force, instead of just relying on, quote unquote, the police or anything like that. This is why I sit up there and tell black people that just because you have, you know, rules, laws, and regulations passed, that doesn't mean that it's going to stop anything. As you can clearly see, you still have these individuals out here going directly after the Asian community and not caring at all, and doing this time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, place after place after place after place after place. And it's allowed. Like I said, it's allowed. Like I said, this is my first time even knowing who this person even is, and that they were even doing this in New York. Because like I told you before, the main people that they wanted to show didn't look anything like him. The main people that they wanted to put in the spotlight, the main people that they wanted to make the poster children for this, looked nothing like him. And this is something that they have done since the starting of the pandemic. Go back and pay attention. The starting of the pandemic literally went through 2 different ethnicities. And then it got to the point where it was like, all right, African American community, bam, it's y'all, right? And then the same exact thing basically transpired with you know, what took place with what is it, the monkeypox, right? It started off in one place, and then randomly it went to the black community, right? And then you got the same thing here when it deals with whatever is going on with the Asian community. It literally started and has always been with one community, and then it was like, nah, it's black people. Like I said before, a lot of people can't basically fathom, people can't really understand, people can't really see what it is, you know, that is taking place, and how things are, in a sense, being blamed on, you know, black people in America. But like I said, it is what it is, and it comes with the territory. You know, that's just what it is. But like I said before, these are the real perpetrators of a lot of the crimes that happen in places like New York, like California, and elsewhere. But yet these are not the people that get highlighted, that do the overwhelming amount when it comes to the Asian community. And as you were able to hear earlier on, and as I repeated back to you guys, the fact that a lot of these things will not be reported, because they're not going to report it, because they feel as though if they happen to stand up tall, if they happen to stand up for themselves, if they happen to fight back, if they happen to report it, if they happen to try to stand as a community, right, to show a sign of strength and force, they feel that they're going to be met with much more resistance, and it's going to get even worse for them. So by them basically just keeping their head down and minding their business, no matter what happens, they feel that they will be less of a target, when really that has caused the reverse to take place. Because the moment in time that you allow a bully to basically keep bullying you, the bully's just going to keep doing whatever it is that the bully's been doing, if not basically make it worse. And then on top of that, it doesn't help for the fact that you have a lot who are in the Asian community who decide that they want to be neck and neck, shoulder and shoulder, right next to the exact same people, right, who are doing the exact same crimes against them. So like I said, Asian community, a lot of these things could be stopped, but they won't be stopped because you yourselves want to be just like the people who quote unquote oppress you.